Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar conversation, whatever you'd like to call it. And today's topic is all about working remotely. On today's call we've got our tutors, assessors, Farheen, who deals with AET and our teacher support qualifications, and Cordelia, or D, as she likes to be known, who assesses and tutors on our CAVA qualifications and AET qualifications also. So we just wanted to take the next 30 minutes and discuss really the benefits and challenges of remote working. I think we can all agree over the last 12 to 18 months it's been quite challenging one way or another, but particularly those who are not used to working from home perhaps, whose usual tasks don't involve usually working remotely. So it's interesting to hear, obviously from ourselves, you hear a lot about our challenges that we've had, and it'd be great to hear all your views as well as we go through the actual 30 minutes. And again, please just join in whenever you'd like. I'll be keeping an eye on the chat box, and I'll be bringing you into discussion whenever you do make that comment. Okay. Yeah, so just to get things started, really, I mean, in terms of benefits, obviously good to start off on the plus. Certainly my biggest advantage benefit over the last 18 months. Obviously, I know we do work remotely anyway, but even more so, I think, given the COVID pandemic, certainly increased flexibility in terms of when you can actually sit down at a computer. Yeah, and all our obvious benefits that spring to mind is not necessarily impact myself, but you don't have to commute anywhere to get to work.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I love that part, actually.
Big time saver.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, certainly been out and about last week in London on the tube stations, and you see everybody going to and from work. You know, it's certainly it's not green pastures as such. So certainly, yeah, there are certainly benefits from working from home, and flexibility and not having to travel to work is certainly the ones that spring to my mind. Yeah.
My husband used to do an hour and a half commute there and an hour and a half commute back. So it's brilliant now because we're both at home. We have dinner earlier, which gives us a longer evening, and we just, we go out cycling or something. So you get that time back to use in a better way, really, don't you? So
yeah, definitely a better work-life balance. You have more time for physical activity. Like D, you started cycling, which is amazing.
Yeah, because I've got time to do it now.
And the ability to eat healthier also. So many people are on diets, and like they can actually look after their nutrition too. You know, because you're home, you can always make yourself a meal. You're not out. So
I think that's a disadvantage for me.
Yeah, I was just going to say it didn't really help me much, for him, to be honest.
I think it's been a plus point for
me. I snack more than I've ever done in my life.
Oh yeah, true. But when I was out, like you'd always be eating at lunch out, you know, and you're working for like 8 hours, you'll be going out.
Because of the role I was in before, where I was in the salon all the time, I was too busy. I didn't really snack, and I didn't stop for lunch really. So, which isn't a good way to live, obviously. But now I'm regularly having coffees and biscuits, or coffees and cake.
Yeah, I'm literally about 5 steps from the kitchen as well, Dee. So yeah, it's very bad.
Kitchen's there. So yeah, it's.
But certainly, if you're, no, John there, one of our people who've tuned in, as just mentioned there, the fact that if you're disciplined enough, I mean, you can. Yeah, you can turn it into a positive in terms of, completely flip around your lifestyle, make it healthier. You've got the choice to eat at regular times, and certainly John's also saying here about spending more time with his partner. And obviously I don't want to say too much in front of my wife. You can't hear me at the minute, but it's not always a great thing. But no, obviously it is good. He gave the quality time with the family, especially during school holidays as well. Whenever the kids have enough, it's can be a distraction, can be good. Yeah.
I love the flexible hours.
Hmm.
Mhm.
How do you find time management, Farheen? How are you dealing with it?
Pretty good actually, because I also have like a system on my computer
Mhm.
where it keeps telling me how many hours I've worked. And after a few hours, I make sure I take a break, just, do something different, clear my head, and then come back to work. So I feel like I'm better, like I'm more productive that way, taking breaks in the middle. And then you can always, start earlier, start later. If you have something planned out for the day, you can always work at night, or you can work earlier and,
Mhm.
have your evenings free. So I love the flexible hours.
Yeah.
I
Funny
do.
sorry, Dee.
I was going to say, I do find that on that lines as well. I do have to have structure though. I still have to, get up, shower, do whatever, hair, makeup, whatever, and just as if I was going to go to work. And I think it works really quite funny with us. My husband starts generally an hour before me. So he gets up, uses the bathroom, comes down, and then he says, I'll see you in the office. And he does it every morning. It actually sort of works, get you into that frame of mind.
Yeah.
So I find the structure, although the flexibility is great, I still need that structure strongly.
I'm the complete opposite. I don't dress up at all.
I don't dress up, not like I used to. I don't get out of my pajamas.
No, I've got my suit on every day, I have to say. I don't know what you're doing at all. Funny,
Karen. Everyone, doesn't it? So.
Yeah, it does indeed. Funny, Karen saying here on chat that she still, even though she is at home, she wants to get away from the kids, because when everyone's at home, it can be a distraction as well. So you've got that sort of double-edged sword or such, and you've got the.
Yeah, luckily that's no longer a problem for me. My kids aren't here. Although it's saying that, it's worse when they do come back. Alyssa's been back from London last week, and she then does want to talk to me all the time. I'm working. They do think because you're here, they can just nip in and have a conversation sometimes. So.
Yeah.
But like you said, flexibility is great, because I could take an hour off and have a lunch with her or something, and then come back to work afterwards and just work on later in the evening or something. So
I think, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm saying, how do you feel about money saving? I feel like I've saved up so much during these past 18 months, more than before, because you're not wasting a lot of money on transport, and there's gas, car maintenance, transportation, or
teenagers. That's what happens to money.
Clothes, because when you're going out, you need clothes all the time.
food, and teenagers.
Yeah.
But I guess that's also good for the environment, because we hardly use our cars now.
Yeah.
Just funny. There's one just when I mentioned about teenagers. How do you sort of? I mean, some of the panelists here, or some of the audience here, would like to sort of find out from us. How do we set boundaries with our families? Because we've probably been working from home and remotely more so than some of those listening at the minute and watching at the minute. What sort of boundaries, or how do you set boundaries? I know certainly what I do, if I'm on a call, my door is closed. And I've got a silly sign drawn up, but that's just for the purpose of keeping the dog out, because when he comes in, he wrecks the place, and then obviously it causes chaos. But yeah, whenever I'm on a call, I'll close the door, and that's how I sort of control it. But yeah, it can be awkward sometimes. What about yourselves? Any other top tips?
Well, we are very similar. We share an office, my husband and I, but he spends a lot more time on the phone. So if I'm doing a call or something, I will go into another room. And generally everybody knows if I'm in that other room that I'm on a call or a webinar or whatever. So like you, it's that shut door policy. The door's open, I'm available. If it's shut and I'm in that room, then I'm probably not. So, but you can tell, give them your schedule and stuff. But I think it's harder. It's different with me because my kids are more grown up and older anyway. I think with the younger kids, probably even younger than teenagers, that's when it is likely to be quite difficult to work from home.
Yeah. I have younger kids and they're always here. I need to literally tell them, okay, you need to leave the room now. And I tell them, you're not allowed to come into my room till 2 p.m. And then they're like, okay. And then right at 2 p.m., they knock on the door, like, can we come in now? Are you done? So yeah, there are challenges working from home because there's so many people at home, especially when you have kids. But I guess you should just tell them that, I'm going to be busy from this time to this time. You can contact me through phone or message me if there's something important. And
not to sort of dampen the conversation down, but or turn it negative in any way. But what do you think will be the isolation side of things? Perhaps when you're at home all day by yourself, and perhaps your spouse, your partner's actually out of the house. It's quite. I think you do need those breaks, don't you? I certainly do think you need those walks with a dog. You do need that sort of.
I was about to say, fresh air is what I think is great. Even just walking into the garden for 10 minutes, feeding the birds or whatever, walk the dog around the block. I think the fresh air is the one thing that really, really is important when you work from home. I could, before I started doing that, I was spending days just locked in the house. Just didn't go or do anything.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a rainy, horrible day and you don't want to go out. So I do have to motivate myself to get up and go outside or something. I mean, you can leave the room, but I think it's more important to get the fresh air.
It is. I think it's quite, okay, you know me, I'm always trying different things, but you sort of have to try time management is a big one with me. Certainly different techniques of leave the computer after 25 minutes, half an hour, taking a 5-minute break, coming back and being re-motivated. And so, but certainly now it is a whole challenge in itself, you know. And getting back to the whole fitness side of life, because it all ties in, I think, with mental health and being fit and keeping your mind and body in order certainly is a very important one, you know. I mean, what other ways do you motivate yourself? Any ideas we can sort of share, do you think? I know certainly by looking at the mirror at the minute, I can motivate myself to go out and do things. But for me, the summertime's great because I love getting up when the weather's nice and clear and bright, and you can go out in your t-shirt as opposed to a raincoat for a run, you know. Yeah.
I also think in my mind that a slightly different aspect to it, but I will do things like I will go and prep dinner. And although that's not a motivation for work in itself, it is motivating in the sense I know I've got less to do later in the day then. So I haven't got to finish work and then, you know, do all these things that I've done. So I'll have 10 minutes of just chopping some veg up ready for later or something like that. And I think even whatever you do, if you're getting away from the computer, that is some way of helping to motivate, because that is just completely taking your, like you say, your mind away from the screen. And then you come back with fresh eyes and a fresh look at things. So it doesn't always matter what you do, it's whatever works for you. And yeah, even just, you know, hanging the washing out, stupid things like that.
Do you both find it hard to switch off as opposed to closing that laptop, switching the computer off, or do you always find yourself having to be on call and needing to check or getting into bad habits like checking your emails after your working day?
I don't feel I have to, but I do it because I sort of don't mind doing it. And I think there is a bit of give and take in there. Like I say, if I'm going to go off and chop some veg in the afternoon, if I have to then answer an email at 8 o'clock at night, if I'm here, it doesn't matter to me. It's not like I suppose maybe because I enjoy my work possibly, but I don't get angry or upset when I do that. If I'm walking past to go into the kitchen and I might just move the mouse, and if something's coming, I'll think, I'll just answer that. It's one less thing to do in the morning.
Yeah. What about you, Farheen? Any thoughts on it? Or do you find yourself sort of difficult to close the laptop over, switch the computer off? Or
you answer our messages when you're not supposed to, so I don't think you should.
Yeah, that's because I've put it on my phone, especially email, because I would like to respond to my learners, my students, you know, if they're asking me a question, if it's something I can get back to them. But if it's something that I need to check or go through their profile or, you know, their work completions or something, then I leave it for the next day. But if it's something I can, you know, reply to them right away, then I don't mind doing that.
I agree. I think if you enjoy your work, and it's
just when I have people over, which is almost every other day, I usually have people over like at night, cousins or just family, we play cards or whatever. Then I make sure I don't touch my phone and I keep away from it, so I don't start checking, you know, my messages or my emails or whatever. But when I'm bored, there are times when I'm bored, there's nothing to do. I'm just, you know, lying down watching Netflix or something. So then, you know, I take some time off and, you know, just go around browsing or check my email.
Funny, someone's mentioned here when you're on that sort of subject, Farheen, about, you know, spending all day at home by themselves and getting lonely, as in no face-to-face contact as such. I mean, how would you both suggest dealing with loneliness? I know we mentioned about out for walks, and that might, you know, sort of counter it. You might bump into people you know, even call a friend.
Yeah.
Regular check-ins with people. Again, it's not face-to-face, but certainly that may sort of combat loneliness? Any thoughts? Or any?
No, I'd like to hear other people's suggestions, because I do think that's a massive thing, actually. I mean, I've got lots of friends that I talk to, phone or message or whatever, but I don't think that's always great for combating loneliness, is it? But again, slightly different. My husband works at home in the same room as me, so I don't feel it probably as much as other people. It's only on the days he goes to the office, which is probably about once a fortnight.
Yeah.
I actually appreciate how hard that must be for people that don't have anybody around. So I don't have any answers for that. I'd love to know if anybody else does. Faheen, what about you?
I actually have a lot of people around, and there are 2 kids who are always just, they're so noisy. So I actually want some time, some little. Can I please watch this show in peace? Can you just leave my room sometime? So like it's complete opposite with me. But dealing with loneliness, I feel like when I am alone and I'm feeling lonely, I just either listen to music that makes me feel happy, or just exercise, or I don't know, call my sister or a friend, or anybody.
Great suggestions there.
Yeah, I eat cake. That makes me feel happy. Really, like good food can really do wonders.
What about you, Mark? You probably spend a bit of time on your own, don't you?
I do quite a bit, but I've always have sort of used to my own company. I know it sounds terrible and sad, but
no, I don't think that's the thing you learn when you get older, isn't it? It's to actually be comfortable with it.
Yeah, but I do like getting out now. Obviously, you see some people you don't want to chat to. Sometimes you're out for walks, and you sort of, you try and avoid them. But no, it's always, even as well, we're quite lucky because we do speak to quite a lot of learners throughout the day. It's quite good phone calls, because certainly, email, LMS are all great for getting messages across, but it's good to speak to people. Certainly, it helps. I think as well. And again, it's probably more specific to our own working environment, but you can address a lot of issues perhaps that some learners might be having by working in isolation, because this course or a course might not be the only thing that they're completing. They may be working from home as well, and the whole thing combined can have a detrimental impact on mental health. So I don't know. It's just sort of it's all down to the type of person you are, I suppose, if you're sort of happier in your own company or used to it or not. But getting out and about, as you said, the fresh air, exercise, it all comes together, all different elements to try and make it better. Certainly having
it's opening up a bit more now for a lot of people, so people can meet for lunch or whatever, I guess, as well now.
Again, it's a benefit we have, isn't it? We can pop out and do that,
Yeah. Well, that hopefully will help some people. But I agree with you. I think because, again, I speak to lots of learners all the time, I don't necessarily feel that loneliness so much.
I mean, even working in teams, because we work on obviously our own team, and it's quite, we get on very well. We have a lot of communication via the different apps. Well, some of us got on well, Farheen, yeah. So we've got quite a bit of communication through apps. And our meetings as well.
Reads are awesome. Like, I love it. I actually look forward to them, They're fun. We enjoy, we talk, we laugh.
But I think the regular check-ins are quite important as well, because everybody can have a bad day, a bad week, bad year, so it's always good to get even working within teams. But a lot of people work by themselves as well, so it's sort of, it's certainly.
And you do feel that people are looking out for you. I mean, if somebody doesn't, if we've got a bit of banter going on our little messages and things, and somebody doesn't respond, or you ask a query and they don't come out, everybody's like, oh, such and such has been a bit quiet. Are you okay? So we do notice that. I think that's quite nice that we've got that as a team, because even though we are all everywhere and all remote, it doesn't always feel like that. It's probably one of the closest relationships I've had.
So here's one for you. So Jane has just asked her, do we have any ideas for activities that we can do online with perhaps groups of family or friends, if being physically together isn't an option? Certainly. Yeah, loads. We get loads of ideas here. Well, last year when the whole thing, when the whole pandemic saga kicked off, I had regular quiz nights with family and friends.
Yeah, it is. And then there's the murder mysteries and the escape rooms, things like that.
Yeah, that's right. What was that all about again? The
escape room we did, didn't we?
The escape room, yes.
Exactly. And I've also done a murder mystery with some friends where we dressed up and stuff. So that was quite good fun too.
Oh, do you dress up as well, yeah?
Yeah, all
brilliant.
those things you can do remotely, aren't they? So
Yeah.
and I think a lot of companies, if you sort of Google it, there's a lot of places that are doing things like that. And even when you look at our non-work meets and we do the Scribble and Kahoots and things like that, even it doesn't have to be a massive expensive thing. It can be something that's cheaper.
Cheap, free.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's so many options. You can play games and, you know.
Yeah. It's just knowing where to find them, isn't it? And I think
Mhm.
you know, it's just a case of maybe searching on Google.
But certainly, yeah, exactly. Certainly, without going into the whole advertising saga here, we'll you know, there's stacks on Google we can recommend. I mean, Dee's mentioned there about the murder mystery, the lockdown rooms, and again, these are you can find as sources of these here through a simple Google. But there's loads of platforms now you can use. Zoom being one, Teams, you know, Google Meets. There's loads. There's loads you can do if you just want to chat. And again, you know, we've all probably done last year, meeting up with friends for a drink or a cup of coffee or tea, just simply chatting, I guess, you know, on a Friday night, on a Saturday, whatever. So it's all doable, and it's all very.
You watch a movie together online now.
My girls have done that. I've never done
Right, okay.
that. My girls have done that, yeah.
It's really cool. I tried it with my husband and it was nice. It's like, because he's been like in another country for a while now. So this is how we, you know, watch movie together. So it was nice. You know?
We struggle to pick a movie anyway, let alone we're apart. We never agree on them. Yeah, my girls do that, especially Kirsten. She loves doing that.
Yeah, it was nice.
I
play Dungeons and Dragons as well.
just sometimes you tend to spend a lot of time looking for a movie, don't you? You spend about 2 hours looking for a movie. I know I do.
It's 2 hours and then we're too tired to watch it.
Yeah, there's a certain well-known called Netflix, and you could spend hours just trying to find something to watch, and you haven't got time to watch it. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. I struggle. I don't have the attention span for films really. Anyway, they're too long these days.
Yeah.
Liked it when they were an hour and a half long.
Wow. Here I am binge watching shows. So
I don't mind shows because you can, you know, watch one or two and that's it. But I'm not a binge watching person, so that's not something that would take my time up.
Okay, that's nice.
But like you say, that if that's what people like, then that works for some people, doesn't it? So that it is great, and it just, like I say, my kids loved it. They used to do that all the time in lockdown with their friends, meet up online and watch a film together.
One thing I didn't mention about working remotely, like I have several health issues, so that has really come in handy, because back in 2018 when I was going through chemotherapy and stuff, I had to leave work because I couldn't manage both. So I was just wondering that if I had something like this before, when I tried to be working remotely before, it would have been easier for me, you know, flexible hours. And if I'm not feeling well, I would just put it down. If I'm feeling well, I do my work. That way I wouldn't have to lose my job. So
and I think that helps your motivation to get better as well, doesn't it? When you've got something positive.
Yeah. And when you're working, honestly, it takes your mind off a lot of things. Sometimes I even forget the pain I'm feeling, and you know, like so many things, because you get so involved in reading or marking an assignment or, you know, reading content.
And supporting as well. I think even the supporting other people, it makes you feel good when you're doing that. So that's a good motivator, isn't it? And that's why I think particularly our work is quite motivating in itself.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. In a sentence, here's one for you. What is the key to working remotely?
For me, structure. Definitely structure.
For me, it would be the flexible hours and the work-life balance.
Okay. For me, certainly.
Yeah. What do you mean by that? So I suppose if it's what you benefit from it, then yeah, the work-life balance. But if it's what helps me to do it better, it would be structure.
Yeah, like time management.
Sorry, Mark. Go on.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I'm with both actually. Yeah, you need that sort of. Don't want to go on for more than one sentence after saying that, you know. But time management, and having that discipline, structure, suppose to get out of bed in the morning, go through the process of getting a shower, getting a bath, getting a wash, and then getting dressed appropriately Doesn't have to be a suit, of course, or a cocktail dress by any means. And then going and doing your work and having those regular breaks and treating it like a office within a different location. And
Yeah.
certainly.
That's quite important for me, I
Or
think.
even what Tony does, it's really nice. He goes to places and he works from there. Like, remember?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he does.
really
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
And that's obviously very good for the old mental health as well.
Location is
Yeah.
amazing, you know.
Mhm.
Fresh air, you're sitting in front of the beach or, you know, a garden or whatever, and you're working from there. Just feels so good.
Yeah, no, certainly agree with you there. It's certainly a good one. For him, it's just getting the internet signal and everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah, that's the problem,
You
isn't it?
know, it's getting the connectivity.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, definitely out and about certainly does help. Yeah. Listen, that's pretty much us wrapped up for today, guys. For those watching and listening, I hope you enjoyed it. And please keep an eye out for future Tutor Talks. Will be advertised on our website. And yeah, have a lovely weekend and see you all soon.
brilliant. Thank you. Bye, everyone.